Hey everyone, welcome back to XVolt Extras, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about a little thing that many of you may be aware of. It is dongles. Now, I mostly wanted to talk about this because I was just thinking about it and I wanted to upload an older rant style video to put something on the channel because I'm actually going to babscon next week and I probably will be recording a bunch of that. I don't know. But anyway, onto the topic. We all know what dongles are. They're basically just adapters, so you can use older stuff with newer stuff. It's pretty easy. These days, you need a dongle for pretty much anything useful because many computers in the modern day just are getting rid of more and more ports. And so if you want to get Ethernet or an SD card or a DVD drive or a floppy drive, it doesn't really matter what you're getting or how frequently or infrequently used it is, you're gonna need to buy a dongle. It depends on the kind of person you are. Most people don't need, a lot of people don't need them, a lot of people do. I'm someone who does because I work with a lot of older stuff and I have a bunch of dongles. Especially the most important one I have is Ethernet dongle for my laptop because it only has USB and USB-C and HDMI. Not very useful. So I think that we should make more strides to get rid of dongles by actually adding ports back to laptops. And the reason I say that is because dongles are just pure e-waste. Because most people, they just go on Amazon, find the dongle they need, and buy it, use it for however length of time they need it, and when they don't need it anymore, they'll probably just throw it out, because no one's gonna buy that. No one buys used dongles. That's just not a thing. Name me one person who buys used dongles. You just can't, because people just buy the new ones on Amazon, because they're so cheap and they arrive so fast that it does not make sense to go out of your way to get used dongles. So they just end up in the trash and in e-waste. Maybe recycling, depending on the person, but it will always end up in e-waste no matter what dongle it is, and I really despise that fact. I already didn't like dongles to begin with. My opinion on the early very slim MacBooks, the ones between 2015 and 17 or 18, the ones that had only USB-C, atrocious. Atrocious. I hate them. When I used the M1 MacBook that I used to use for my school, it only had USB-C. Hated it. Awful. Awful, awful, awful. I had to use a dongle for literally everything because USB-C isn't as widespread as some people would like to be. It depends on the person again. If you only use new stuff, doesn't really matter that much. You're already probably using a Thunderbolt dock anyway. That's probably more worth it than just a dongle. You know, that kind of thing. But I have dongles for a lot of old tech, and I'm sure nobody will buy it. And especially since my PC, I'm getting a new case for it that will allow a DVD drive, and I'll also be putting in a multi-card expansion bay into it. So that way I don't have to use dongles as often because I use SD cards and stuff like that, and I'd like to be able to just plug it directly into the computer without having to use a dongle because that's really damn annoying. And that's just how things are. A lot of people just accept it that way because Apple just normalized it in their older and current Macs. Not really the current ones anymore, but still, it's ridiculous that this is just so normalized. And I think that people should do more. Framework, I can give them some credit here because at least they have interchangeable ports, but in reality, those are just glorified dongles as well. The framework is just a bunch of USB-C ports just sunken into the case, so instead of having a dongle that sticks out, you have a dongle that sits flush, which was one of my gripes with the framework, that essentially it was just a dongle computer. Also the fact that an Ethernet port was $45. What the hell are you guys doing? But anyway, I think we should do more to put ports back on laptops. The fact that people just aren't putting ports on laptops these days because everyone wants thin, thin, thin. It's ridiculous, honestly. And I don't like the fact that my laptop is missing a bunch of ports, but I don't care about it too much because I only really use it when I'm going somewhere or if I'm just not going to be having my computer for a while. So I don't really care that much. But on my PC, I think it's pretty important, and I think for some people who only have laptops, it would be very important. I know that when I was living out of only a laptop, I liked having options there, even if I wasn't fully into that whole thing. My first laptop, which is what I had before I had a PC or anything else, it had an SD card, it had HDMI, it had VGA, it had a DVD drive, it had Ethernet, it had USB ports, it had 3 USB ports actually. That's something you don't really see on laptops these days. No USB-C because it was like a mid-range laptop from 2014, but yeah, that laptop had a lot of stuff. It was kind of cheap, but yeah. So that's really all I really want to talk about. That just dongles suck. I don't like them. I don't like dongles. I only use them because I have to. I don't have much of a choice right now. Um, Hopefully I won't have to use them as much in the future. And that's all I have to say. Goodbye.